The first thing and the most important thing that we must get in every practice is representative repetitions. And a representative repetition is something that can happen in game. So even if I'm going and going for a layup and there is a defensive player, even if he's there, it can happen in games, it can happen. Great, it's a representative repetition. Okay? As long as the situation can happen in a game, it is a representative repetition, even if it's something that occurs not very frequently. Okay? And generally it's based on those things. It consists of those things. Decisions are based on game information, so there are never during games pre-scripted actions. It never happens in a game that you get the ball. It does happen sometimes. It's always a disaster. You get the ball, and in advance you say to yourself, hey, when I will get the ball, I will do this. Never happens. Because what if the defender does not close out? Or what if he forces you to go left? So you can never decide in advance what to do. And whenever we do drills that are pre-scripted, we tell our players, hey, let's stand in this line, and we will go, and you will cross over from right to left, and then, or even if you tell them, hey, you go, and you can do whatever crossover that you want here. This is not how it works. It's not how it works. Because we are always acting upon what we perceive, our perception. There is a perception and action link that we cannot disconnect it. Whenever we disconnect the link between perception and action, we are not helping our players. Okay? So, decisions based on game information, sense of urgency, a clear purpose in the game. You always know what you want to achieve, always. But when you do this drill, hey, I will go here, and then what's the purpose of the drill? What are you trying to achieve here? It's very unclear to the players, and also during games there are multi-actions, so a lot of things that are happening simultaneously. Okay, so I spoke about it, but just to make it clear, because I think we all see a lot of non-representative repetitions. It's all over social media, and players are willing to pay big sums of money to work with individual trainers who are doing a lot of non-representative repetitions. And for me, not just it is unhelpful, I think it's even damaging our players. So non-representative repetitions, they fail to solve the problem because they are not tackling the source of the problem. The problem is always there because of the other team. Maybe, when we work on shooting, maybe the problem is technical. Maybe, I'm not sure. Okay, maybe there the problem is technical and there is some kind of thing that you should do without defense. Maybe. But for all the other things, the problem is always because of the defenders. So we are not dealing with the root cause of the problem, okay? And non-representative repetition, as I said, they break the crucial link between perception and action, which is something that is terrible for players. They prepare the players for something that they will not meet in games. They even give them fake confidence. Because the player feels, hey, I can finish 10 in a row. I can shoot 10 in a row from here without defense. Hey, I'm good. But then he comes to the game and he cannot score. He just can't score because the defense is there. And everything is now different. Everything is now changing. So he starts to lose confidence in himself and in his coach, okay? And they don't have clear intention. And of course, they are boring. I'm sorry, but to let the players run this for 10 minutes, this is boring. there's no challenge for the players. Maybe a beginner, there is some challenge at the beginning, but it's not fun, okay? So we want representative repetitions, but this is not enough. We also want many representative repetitions. So if we only get 20 representative repetitions, this is not going to help our players. So we must have a lot of representative repetitions, and this is what we're going to focus on today. I will talk about it a bit later, but we will have a practice today, and I will give assignments to you just to track how many repetitions that we have, because the numbers that you will see, I think, will open your eyes. But on average, we want 1 to 2 representative repetition per player per minute. And I can see a lot of sessions all over, wherever I see them. I'm not talking about here, I'm talking about all over, where players have 1 repetition per 3 minutes, which you just can't improve with one repetition per 3 minutes. You can't. It's simply not enough. And there's a lot of research that shows, and I always talk about him, Rob Gray, I think he's the most prominent researcher today about skill acquisition. He published 3 books. The last one is, I think, the best. 2, I found it very hard to understand, but the 3rd one is great, and he's talking a lot about it in his website. You can find his website, and he has a podcast, Perception in Action. So you can see he gathers a lot of studies from all over, and there are a lot of research that shows that even when you do representative repetitions, and of course, representative repetitions, you can get less repetitions from non-representative repetitions, right? Because now when you have defense, it takes more time to get repetitions, right? Because if you don't have the defense, you can run a lot of layups or a lot of shooting. Think about shooting. If you just stand and shoot with no defense, it's going to be more repetitions. But the non-representative repetitions, they're worth much less than the representative repetitions. And there are research studies that show that. And why is many representative repetitions so important? Because at the end of the day, we are coaching our brain. We are not coaching our body. Everything takes place in the brain. And when we have many representative repetitions, 2 things happen in the brain. One is neuroplasticity, where more connections are being created in the brains, and those connections are strengthening. And the second thing is remapping, which means that there is a real estate battle in our brain, and if we do more than one thing, then the area in the brain that controls this activity is just getting more space in the brain. So if we are constantly playing basketball, constantly, so what happens is that more and better connected brain units are processing basketball. And we will be better at that. Okay? So essentially what happens if you are a blind person and you can't see, what happens? There is a real estate battle inside your brain, and the hearing areas in your brain are just becoming larger on the expense of your vision cortex. Okay? So this is essentially why representative repetitions are so important. Now, we are dealing with 2 main problems when we talk about many representative repetitions. First of all, we have a lot of repetitions that are not representative. So we do 2 things. We decompose the skill. So a layup, what we would do when we are decomposing, we will take it out of game context, and then we will decompose it. So we will start like this. And then we will add, this is how I taught a layup like 30 years ago, this. So we are decomposing it. This is extreme non-representative repetitions, which for me are terrible because of all the reasons that I mentioned. So we are decomposing it, especially for beginners. And this is really heartbreaking because beginners will benefit the most from representative repetitions. Their improvement rate will be the most impressive when you work with beginners, because beginners bring another problem when you do with them a non-representative repetition. And I saw, again, I see a lot in social media, but I saw a drill where there were 3 players and one was passing and the other was screening, and we were standing here, so with no connection to the baskets. Yes, like we were walking like this. The basket was not even, and it was obvious to me that the players who did that had no clue what they are doing. They had no clue. So if you're an experienced player, you can imagine what's going on, so maybe it has some value for you. But as a beginner, and it's easy to see, try doing this drill with beginners, tell them just to slide. Okay, slide. Now for us as coaches, we understand what's going on, right? We want you to defend the ball handler and we want you to slide. What you will see with beginners is they will do this, they will do this, and now they will do this. What does that mean? They don't understand what's going on because the player is there. He's dribbling the ball there, and you will see it with the beginners all the time. So, and this is really a tragedy because we think that with beginners we need to decompose and make it simple and take it completely out of context. But there, it's like for NBA players that are doing this and shooting, you can actually see their heads working and imagining what's going on. For beginners, it doesn't happen, okay? Again, path dependency and culture is a big thing. Like you see it all over social media. And suddenly you see your players starting to ask you, hey, can we work on handles? Complete waste of time. Complete waste of time. Okay? And we also, no intent, no disrespect for Canadian culture, because I admire Canadian culture. But you are also polite. And you like things that are in order. And I had complaints on my garden because we didn't, the lawn was growing out of control, and our neighbors told on us to the landlord. So you like everything to be under control and nice and clean, but this is not how the game is being played. So the game is chaotic. It's a big chaos. And we can't expect to have practice sessions that are completely in order and everything looks so nice. We can't expect this to lead to any kind of improvement. So we cannot be afraid of this chaos in practice, okay? So the solution for this is to simplify, not decompose, and we will talk about simplifying a task, not decomposing it, because of course we cannot let beginners do the same things we do with experienced players. So we definitely need to simplify, but we cannot decompose the task, okay? Do not be afraid of chaos, okay? And always remember what is the root cause from the problem. If you will take care of the root cause, you will see that working without defense is simply not effective. Now, this is one problem. Repetitions are not representative. We're doing things that are not the things that happen in games. The second problem is many representative repetitions. So now we want to get as many representative repetitions as possible, and there are 2 great problems in our way here. One is we talk too much. We talk too much. So we stop the practice all the time. And we talk, and we explain, and we teach. But this is not the mechanism that we play basketball with. And I will just talk in a little while about the implicit and the explicit systems in our brain. The declarative and the non-declarative. We are not playing basketball with a declarative system, which forces us to decompose problem and to think of problem. We are playing basketball with the non-declarative, the implicit system of our brain, which is located in different areas of the brain and works entirely different. And I think this is the source of a lot of where the coaching comes from. We think that we are teaching how to solve problems, but this is correct for the explicit, not the implicit, and we will talk about it in advance in a little while. So, solution is, this is completely the minimum. 70% work time and 30% talk time, but this is the minimum. If you are talking more than 30% of the time, then it's a terrible practice. I'm sorry. But this is not what the kids, why they came to practice. This is not the reason they came to practice. They came to practice to work, to jump, to sweat, to work hard. Second thing is, do not, never, or never is exaggerated, but rarely talk more than 1 minute in a row during practice. Only look at your players after 1 minute. Look at them. No one is looking at the coach. Maybe the two most focused players are able to maintain their focus for more than 1 minute during practice. So keep it to a minimum of 1 minute, and we will get to that in a session. Now, the second thing that prevents us from getting many representative repetitions are the transitions. So transition from repetition to repetition. So think about it. We have a possession. Let's say we run a 3-on-3, and it's a possession of a 3-on-3. It takes what, 10 to 15 seconds, right? The possession will take us half court, 10, 15 seconds. Now, if this possession is over, now let's have the next two teams. How much time does it take until the next two teams are ready to go through the 3-on-3 possession again? How much time? 20 seconds. So we are working less than we are transitioning. You understand what I'm saying? Is it clear? So we must find a solution for transitions. So for me, a good drill, and this is always the first thing that I'm looking for when I see, and it's of course very interesting to see good drills all over. But for me, a good drill is only good if the transitions are very quick. So if there is no waste of time during transitions of the practice. So one team finishes, immediately the next team already starts. Because if we lose time with transitions all the time, then the practice is completely ineffective. So let's summarize what we said regarding many representative repetitions. Everything we do should be representative, and I mean everything. And I mean even when we are talking about younger players. Okay, maybe 5% at the beginning of practice, you don't want contact, you want them to get warmed up, okay. But other than that, I think everything should be representative. We need to pay attention to transitions and breaks. We waste a lot of time there, and this is an expensive time. Hey, Eric would tell you how expensive gym time is. How expensive gym time is. We cannot waste it on water breaks and talking and lecturing. This is not the time to do it. When we are on the court, sense of urgency is imperative for us as coaches. We want our kids to play as much as possible, okay? And this is now what we will talk about. We are teaching the non-declarative memory, not the declarative memory. This is why talking and explaining is ineffective.